Good evening, Intersphere. It is June 22nd, 3050. And this is Kongkast.
Alright, so tonight we've got me, Connor Sinclair, and Rather Dashing. And we also have Laser Angel.
Hey everyone, it's Laser Angel again, as usual.
Huge.
Wait, don't start without me.
Dude.
Fuck you, Connor, I hate you.
Kalis.
This is Kalis.
Valkyrie.
Good evening, Intersphere!
And the infamous Visaggio Rain.
As per the usual.
Is Harebeck talking today?
And no me.
And we have today Commander Harebeck.
Harebeck.
Yes, I'm here. Connor forgets me, though.
No, I could never forget Beck Storm. I love that game. I loved you in Star Wars. Okay, so we've got,
Follow Kong.
Yeah, Follow Kong. I guess you guys have put together some sort of app, so now everyone can track us and what we're doing no matter what.
Yeah, this app spot link will automatically scrape 4chan to find the latest MechWarrior Online General, and in the future we'll have some more web app functions for our podcast.
We should
Feel
start
free to stalk us.
Yeah, we need to put that into like a drop somewhere so everyone can track us.
That way you're not in danger of running into the Katawa Shoujo General.
Very true.
Also, our vent server is open to everyone, so feel free to drop by, and you'll never know who'll show up.
Yep, we've had some pretty cool people show up. Anyone from NGNG to Piggy to... who else have we had drop by?
Well, in general, we have other
Moot,
game leaders.
The infamous
Years ago.
Yeah, we had Moot years ago. We had somebody else. It was...
But the pre-cadet grind turned him off.
We had Chavette and Mr. 144. We also have Limery, if he ever comes back and he's, curious about what we're doing.
Yeah, that's enough showcasing. That's enough showcasing. Come
curious.
on.
Okay. So, I guess we're going over the MechWarrior Online Mapmaking Committee.
Yeah, recently there was a Penny Arcade article about how how the process they used for designing their maps, and I think Kalis had some things to say about that. But this is the second article. It's lengthy. It has like 3 to 6 megabyte pictures, so it'll take forever to load. And good luck loading it the first time.
Very detailed.
Yeah, you can open the page and go make a cup of coffee or something. It'll be there when you get back.
Kalis.
Yeah. Well, after reviewing this article and looking at it, it's a fantastic and it's an amazing article. It's got a lot of insight into the design process. But a couple things come to mind. Why have meetings around palette swatches? This is an interior design. Map design should focus around a concept. When making maps, design the gameplay, discuss the part that makes it fun and interesting, not the color swatches.
No. And if you look at, they've got a section on it where it shows a cross-section of the map. You can see the spawns and what they believe to be the areas the players sort of, they move in from.
The grind zones.
Yeah, they notice they create this place they call the grind zone. Well, the funny thing about that so-called grind zone is that if you look at the heat map, no one is there. Everyone is literally dying behind cover. I wonder why that is. Do you think it might be because they're getting PPC'd to death and they're trying not to come out into the open? Or they're trying to avoid lerms? Visaggio Rain.
Yeah, about that. The maps we have, the old ones that people generally are most familiar with, they were designed under a system where you had ranged weapons and you had short-range weapons. Did a certain thing, and that's about it. Suddenly we have no close combat weapons, and people are hiding or camping and sniping. So, yeah, not the way it was intended now.
No, it's not. Dashing?
I'm going to have to agree with Vass here. Basically, a lot of the old maps were built around a metagame that doesn't exist anymore, and with the current state of things, well, especially with older maps, there's just these big, broad open areas, and, people just sit on each side just shooting each other. There's nowhere to go, and so all they do is just run around just trying to shoot each other in the ass. It's like a big old game of grab ass. You can just watch the heat thing. They're running around the borders of the map, they're running behind cover, just doing everything, except going straight forward and engaging one another.
Huge.
Yeah, also just something about
people hiding behind the trenches, kind of like that. Even when someone does rush, it's kind of like you got these crazy G.I. Joe big dick guys rushing no man's land and jumping in the German artillery trenches. The fighting will always happen on one side of the trench, because the dead center, someone's going to snipe you, so there's no point to fight there.
No. And that was like one of the big things that I attacked him on when I looked over this thing. Like, I didn't give a crap about the art direction or anything. To me, it's all about the fun. I mean, yeah, art direction does help it along. I mean, yeah, it looks beautiful when you're dying, or when you can't play, or when you're frustrated because none of your weapons work, and you didn't load enough PPCs onto your stalker.
Basically, you can have the most pretty map ever, but if it plays like ass, then the map...
Yeah, or if the meta does not play with the map, then you've got no fun. Val?
Something that I've noticed here, just two things. This is the first time I've actually read this article. I've been kind of busy the past couple days. Firstly, I wanted to mention regarding the grind zone thing. I'm looking at this, and it suggests that, you're supposed to make contact directly in the center of the map. But, as people have been saying, it's kind of pointless to do that. It's really indicative of poor map design when everyone's just running directly at each other and there's no sort of actual flanking around. It's why I like Canyon so much, because Canyon does a lot of cover, so you can kind of get around and kind of figure where people are, and then you attack. Instead of just, they're going water, they're going cave, okay, let's go meet them there, kind of thing. Other thing I wanted to mention, too, is I'm worried that PGI, when they go and they add little things on later, that they're forgetting their own design philosophies. There's a visual target image of Frozen City where it's showing the massive, massive towers that are supposed to be... When you're walking around and you start on the lower side of Frozen City, you're supposed to be basically... Those tiny buildings you see are the tops of massive, massive skyscrapers. So why the hell are there street lights there? Are you seriously meaning to tell me that there are street lights that are, like, literally...
100 feet
10
tall.
10 times as tall as Mech? Like, really? What the hell?
I can't see if I can turn. I'm trying to see if there's a turn signal, but the fucking light is 100 feet tall. Okay, Kalis.
Well, like he was talking, those visual targets, I think would make great promo material, and they're pretty awesome, actually. They show the new map, but yet it looks like another hot map, as well as a noob trap.
Okay, huge.
Ooh, just one more thing on scale is they've done it pretty well so far, but there are a few things that they're kind of slipping up on, like on Canyon. These shrubberies, usually whenever we see vegetation, it's like a tree. It's a pretty big tree, and you can believe, okay, it looks small because it is rather a very big tree, and I'm just a very big robot. But some of these are just plain up shrubberies. There is no shrubbery that size, ever, in the history of ever. They got some weird tentacle things that might be big, I can believe that, but they're kind of slipping on that point.
Laser.
I think one of the things we want to notice is sort of the expected times to engagement, and that the original values appear to be 15 and 20 seconds, when like an Atlas can cover about 300 meters in 20 seconds. That's just with a 300 engine. So they've mentioned on NG that they're looking for a session based in and out. So you're not on the server for 2 hours playing a single map, grinding endlessly. It's a 15-minute match tops, and they're trying to sort of control the match length by the map size on top of that. And of course, we complained about that, and we got Alpine, which still needs a lot of work. And they're hopefully going to touch that up maybe next month or in August. There's still a lot of work to be done on Alpine.
Okay, we got anyone else to comment on this? Anything else?
I have a few more things to say.
Well, go ahead, Laser.
I think another thing is that we've mentioned this before to them, but where's our like MechWarrior online hardcover art book that we can buy for like $80, and it's like a tome with these are like 3 to 6 megabyte pictures, and we'd love to buy a book from you guys, but we know you don't have the license, so try to get on that.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame.
I've got another complaint. It's that like they showcase the maps and they try to show, hey, this is what we've done. We had this committee and we spent all this time talking about what needs to be in it. But then you go to the actual construction of the map, these shots aren't showing some of the imperfections we keep seeing when we play. Like rocks floating in the air, static objects just poking through something that doesn't belong.
Mid-tier hitboxes on Tourmaline, maybe?
Yeah, God. Laser, you got more?
It's just like the first couple of pictures are the original Tourmaline Desert concepts, and you see sort of burning. The sky is orange. There's all these little dust devils rolling around. And it looks like it's a night map, to be honest, with a really close shot of how close the planet is to the sun. It's the sun in the solar system itself. And I'd really just like to see sort of like a night thunderstorm version of Tourmaline Desert. It just more like what the original design concept looks like. And with the spires and the crystal formations, the Tourmaline final looks somewhat like the concept, but I still have a lot of feelings for the original concept art we saw months ago.
Huge.
Although they are doing a few good things, they're kind of experimenting, and I hope they continue with this. They're adding small pieces of the map that smaller mechs can hide inside of and use for ambush, kind of like the inside of the ships. Also on Tourmaline, there's actually a little pipe that's dead center. A little Jenner hole. You can hide Jenners in there, or in the other light mech, you can fit about 2 in there, and they're completely hidden from cover. And, they can dash out, get at your toes. It's kind of cool to have those small little perks in the map instead of just cover, open field, cover again.
I was thinking, why couldn't they have a pipe like that goes under the map that only Smalls and maybe the Cicada can go through?
Well, probably because if you did that, then, oh, look, you're pretty much the entire, the game's running out of time, and some little asshole in a spider runs under the pipe, and you've got no lights to go after him.
No, that's true. That's true. In Deathmatch, I think it'd be pretty good. I don't know. Well, they could do a Jenner Highway thing, just make it really one long pipe that you could walk through.
Maybe make it exposed on the top so that way he's covered from, direct fire, but if you can shoot down on him, you got a shot.
Yeah. Arabic?
Yeah, one thing they've really been missing on the maps they've made thus far, and I've noticed that they need to implement, is we don't really have any sort of passageways or anything that goes underneath the maps, any sort of tunnels. Like, there are a couple that don't really go anywhere, like on River City, but it'd be nice if there was like a different playing field, like a tunnel complex under a map where you could have a different route to the base where 2 levels of fighting could go on, like that.
Okay, Laser?
Yeah, like on Alpine, we've mentioned this before, that we would like a tunnel through one mountain. A tunnel that you could fit an Atlas through, but you can either walk through the tunnel, through this mountain, and you can avoid the LRMs, but on top of that, if someone's at the other end of the tunnel, you don't have anywhere to go because you're stuck in the tunnel, but you at least avoided the LRMs. So
it's like a brawling trap, yeah.
Not to mention if you're the only one going through there, it's like you're not supporting your team and you're betting it all on a flank.
Yeah.
Because it sucks when you go out the other end of a tunnel and your entire team is dead. Is it the Penny Arcade, Birth of a Mech we need to go over? Yeah, let's go over that
no,
one.
this is the second article. The past one they made showed the making of the catapult and the original low poly detail models of the mechs, and then the later sort of detailed models, along with the damaged states of like the PPC arm or the missile box.
Kalis?
Referencing the original article, while it is a fantastic thing, it does tell us a lot that we, suspected and such. Essentially, it seems like they need a lot of feedback and approval needed along the process instead of letting people do their job. So there's a lot of micromanaging if you read between the lines. And while it's amazing to see all the work that goes into the maps, it still seems slow for static, non-interactive maps. And it doesn't seem like the most efficient method, especially with all the effort for the lighting and the colored fogs and such. I just, I want more articles like this, but,
Well, I wanted to talk about the old article, but then I wanted to bring it in reference to the Quickdraw, and the fact that it's the size of a Highlander.
All right, sounds like we're on our Quickdraw topic now, and Harabek would like to go first.
Yeah, on the topic of the Quickdraw, I was really disappointed with the 4G. I've grounded those all out to Elite now, and the 4G is just worthless. 2 jump jets doesn't make up for the lack of a weapon slot. They really needed to implement, or give it, say 2 missile hardpoints in the center torso, with 2 extra jump jets. That way you have 4 tubes in the center torso. You could put, 2 streaks there, and it would love the other one having, more of a role as an LRM boat or something. Whereas that one could, it's still balanced with 3 missiles having all the same hard points as the 4H with 2 extra jump jets, or give it ECM or something. But it's one of those variants where it's really just useless compared to the others, and I would wish they'd stray away from that. Also, I'm always a little disappointed when a mech comes out and only has 3 variants, where it feels like you have no choice in the ones you want to use.
Vass?
Yeah, the Quickdraw. I've had, both me and Harabek actually been grinding those pretty heavily. First problem would be the size. I agree with that. It's it is the size of a Highlander. There's no two ways around this. Too gigantic. Same applies to many other mechs like the Trebuchet, every popular Centurion. And you can't size a 60-tonner with 60 tonners worth of armor and internal life bar to the size of an assault mech. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I thought he'd be a little man. He turned out to be a huge fat thing.
I thought we'd have something, like the Blackjack. The Blackjack it's scaled properly for the weight class, really, and for the weight too.
It takes a lot to go down, though. And
yeah,
a lot more than a dragon.
Just to go on about the mech size, like, you're honestly surprised that the Quickdraw was too tall? Like, seriously, after the Centurion's taller than an Awesome, and the Trebuchet is like...
And he's fat.
The Trebuchet is like the second tallest mech in the game compared to the Atlas. Like, why are mediums so damn big? Why is the Quickdraw... Like, the Quickdraw is barely taller than a Trebuchet and a Centurion, but it's got 10 tons on it! I mean, why are these mechs that are like 40 and 50 tons lighter than assault mechs taller than them? A Centurion is the size of a damn Awesome. It's insane.
I kind of figured after a Blackjack they'd have gotten the scale proper.
Okay, huge.
Okay, now I personally have not bought one yet, but just saying when I'm fighting them, I've kind of noticed that they're the only brawling heavy we have. And what I mean by that is that, yes, it is gigantic. It's retardedly big, but just the way the armor plays out and the way the weapons are loaded out, there's no specific weak point. It can actually get in the fight, which is nice. It has a niche.
What I've seen from it is that it's exactly like I thought it would be. There's a lot of them carrying medium lasers and swinging themselves around, and they go fairly quick. Jude?
I should note that with the size to weight ratio on a lot of the mechs, they should actually be able to float in water.
What? So it should be buoyant?
They have about the density of wood, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would be right. Holy shit.
Especially the Trebuchet, which might actually just float in air. Filled with helium.
God.
You hit the jump jets on it, it just leaves the map.
I'm going back to my people. They need me. Laser.
I've just noticed on the Quickdraw, as mentioned before, it seems to have a lot more survivability, and that every time I've watched streams or pictures of the death screens of Quickdraws, they're usually no armor on the top, and you lose like both legs. So it's really rare you'll see one go down without losing everything critical.
So I guess we're getting pulse laser changes coming soon.
Oh, they actually came out this week.
Soon, TM.
Paul mentioned that he was using some ratio of, I forget the exact numbers, but it was a ratio of damage to heat, and he was going to normalize all the lasers, and to be honest, I'm calling them magic numbers right now, and the pulse laser still needs a lot of work.
Fair enough. Jude?
I feel the way pulse laser should work is, you know how they have that 3-shot burst? I think the time between shots in that burst should actually be the recycle time, and it should only be 1 shot. And they should double the volume.
So basically meaning it'd go whoop, 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 whoop.
Well, a lot faster, but yes.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Kind of like what I was saying. Arabic?
Yeah, basically like that. That was one of the things I was going to say. Have it more like a machine gun. But on the large pulse, they really have a lot they need to do with that. It needs to be at least 12, 13 damage. It weighs the same as a PPC, but it's limited to, what is it, 300 meters?
600 meters max, 300 optimal, 600
max,
tops.
Yeah, so it needs to do more damage than a PPC. It needs to have about the same heat as a large laser. It shouldn't have significantly more, anyways. It just needs to be a very deadly brawling weapon, something that you do not want to see within that range.
Well, that's
right now, it's a joke.
That's what it used to be. I mean...
It just have to have that 12 to 13 damage in there to really edge it out over a PPC.
Huge.
Now, we can all kind of agree it's not quite there, but we do have to give them credit for sticking to their guns and trying this new balancing thing where they make small changes. It's not quite good enough, but they made a small change to see how it would work. It wasn't OP, but it wasn't there, so yeah, kudos to them for that.
Okay, Val?
The problem with that small change they made is it was an unnecessary nerf. So it was a nerf to a weapon that nobody was already using. For that matter, something I do want to mention is that everyone keeps talking about, oh, well, these weapons need to be brought up, these weapons need to be brought up, these weapons need to be brought up, and the PPC is usually mentioned as like kind of the high watermark that everything should be held to. My concern is more about power creep. If are we bringing everything up to the PPC's level, which is going to take a lot longer, or should we bring the PPC down a little bit as far as viability goes, and then kind of tweak those little 2 or 3 things that actually need tweaking to bring it up a little bit further and rebalance everything that way. Stuff like pulse lasers, SRMs still need a damage buff because right now they are pretty much worthless. Things like that. They need a slight upgrade, and the PPCs need a slight downgrade instead of bringing everything up to the PPC, regardless of how dramatic a change that might be.
Laser?
I've noticed one of the things I would like to see on the pulse laser is a slight range increase. We've all tossed around the laser machine gun where you hold it down and it's a continuous beam, and if you overheat, then, well, you're going to overheat and you're going to stop firing. Let's see, Garth mentioned on NG that he suggested they increase machine gun range to 120 meters, so on top of that, bring the small lasers and small pulse lasers up to 120 meters, increase the range to the medium pulses to like 200, and probably large pulses 320 or 360. Just a small increase in the range, and on the large pulse laser, make it like 11 damage and decrease the heat slightly, because people are still going to go for the PPC, and there just needs to be something special that the pulse laser brings, and like a continuous beam or low cooldown. It's a brawling gun. It's really accurate. The pulse is supposed to give you an accuracy benefit, and what they're implementing here is just the reduced burn-in time, but that really doesn't seem to be enough.
I've got 2 comments to interject right here. The first one is about the PPC and the fact that everyone's thinking to bring weapons up to it. The PPC itself is not at fault. What the fault is the fact that so many can be carried, and that shouldn't be. You have to remember that the PPC is a siege weapon. It is a very hard to carry weapon, and it's too easy to carry them. Another thing I want to bring up is the fact that on pulse lasers, as Laser said, there is a bonus to hit with them. They're supposed to be an ease of use weapon, especially in brawling. They make it very difficult to deal with when you're torso twisting and when everything's moving fast. They're especially good when you're fighting enemies who are jump jetting over you because you're constantly streaming and throwing little points of damage. It's not much, but the fact that you're constantly throwing damage and the enemy is constantly moving means that red torso you've been trying to hit the entire time ends up getting poked no matter what, and they just go down. A constant firing attack weapon as the pulse laser would be a great addition, because it would mean that the enemy, if they had even a slightly open wound, there would constantly be an aggression toward it, which would make sitting around in that enemy mech's combat zone bad. You would not want to be in there. You would be putting yourself at risk. Yeah. Laser?
The small pulse laser, I've seen a couple of 6 small pulse laser generators running around, and they're scary, but they can only reach out to 180 meters max. And I really agree with you that the pulse laser, you can just sort of keep damage going onto like an exposed torso section. It's not like a ballistic weapon. That's why ballistics are really popular, because you can sort of pop a full damage on a single slot. The lasers have burn-in time, but the pulse laser...
That's exactly what the old Atlas setup used to be. It used to be you had an AC-20 or a Gauss. You popped open the armor, and then you had that continuous, constant stream of damage. And eventually, you would hit that section that was harmed, and it would pop open. Keep going.
Yeah. On the pulse lasers, the tonnage, the heat, and the range are what's supposed to keep these from being like the laser machine guns of doom. That's supposed to keep it in check. You fire PPCs on the guy who's going to run to you with pulse lasers, and I'm starting to get some of these more generalist builds where I have PPCs, medium lasers, and streaks, and I'll peek over. I'll peek over, fire my ER PPCs. I have my BAP. I can see you at the 1,200 meters. I can hit you unless you're under ECM, and people can't fire back. I spent tonnage and heat sinks and put these weapons on my stalker's arms. It's only 2 PPCs. I'll see complaints every once in a while. It's like, even brawling mechs are carrying PPCs now. In Battletech, a mech that will have like 1 PPC or 2, and you'll respect 2 PPCs. It's 20 damage. Heat sort of keeps the PPC in check. It's just the pinpoint damage is throwing other things off.
Huge.
Oh, just what Laser was saying about small pulse lasers. I recently tried playing with them a little bit, and they're not bad. But I kind of feel like the whole purpose and the entire weapon, the small laser in its entirety, has it's kind of been rendered defunct now that we have double heatsink. Back when we had singles, it was a weapon you had to take because of heat limitations, but now, I don't think there's ever a good reason to take a small laser or small pulse.
I agree and disagree. I agree that we're able to do it because of DHS, but at the same time we're not given true DHS. Then there's the fact that, again, this weapon is just too easy to slap on any mech. I mean, you even see Ravens carrying them. But to me, it has nothing much to do with that as much as it has to do with the weapon. Not the weapon itself, but the way the weapons are handled in that fashion.
Connor's talking about is the PPC Raven, not a pulse laser Raven, just to be sure, right? All right.
Yes. We're talking about your PPC, the Mega Man Spider, and the Sniper Raven, the frickin' Pathfinder Raven.
I can understand a Mega Man Spider because I know we hate to call tabletop. This Panther is, 35 tons, a PPC gun arm, an SRM-4, and barely enough heat sinks to keep it cool.
Well, I mean, look at the Highlander. The Highlander is a lovely mech, and it follows the same goddamn principle. But the thing that kills me is that they're wasting a Raven. That's really all it is that ifs me.
Alright, well, I got a question for Kongkast. When you're talking about balancing, do you want to balance around the highest alphas, or... I mean, what do you think would be the best way to balance, you think?
It's like this. Each weapon has a role to play. They have strengths and weaknesses. A lot of these fucking accurate weapons like Gauss rifles and PPCs, they're siege weapons. They're heavy, they're hard to carry. There are certain requirements that go with them with the mech itself. A lot of it revolves around the mech itself and whether or not it can hold it.
What I was talking about is like, what message do we want to give to PGI? What do we want them to balance around? Do they balance around the PPC, the 6 PPC Stalker, or, the 9 medium laser Hunchback? I mean...
There are a lot of people in the community that would easily tell them. It would be a long list and they'd have to reread it a few times, but I think they'd get the gist of it if they just heard us out. They don't really use us to our full extent. We don't feel like beta testers, we just feel like customers. And PGI just seems to do whatever they damn well please, whether or not it's beneficial or not. They, for whatever reason, only hold their own opinion to any regard, and then just sort of pass us off.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's one weapon that they need to base around, I think it is, and they've said it before, the large laser. The large laser is consistently sat at good damage, good range, good heat, all of that. Any weapon you want to balance around, that's one of the only weapons that, when boated in 4 or 5, actually feels like a fair boat. You don't feel like you're getting cheaped out by it. The only thing that comes with it is, people say you can twist to spread the damage around, but that kind of goes to shit when you have the crotch count as the center torso. That becomes a real annoyance there when you can just focus on it and it ignores an Atlas twisting like it should be to mitigate damage. You can just
or
focus
the head
on their
in general
crotch.
on large mechs too, like the Atlas or the Highlander.
Too,
I don't know how many Highlanders I've killed where they'll drop real low and I'll just keep shooting the top of their head, and if I don't hit the cockpit, well, I'm already doing damage to their centaurs, so what do I give a shit about?
It's just annoying. It avoids that.
Well, honestly, I think the way how they should look to balance this game is the stock build should not be an obsolete model. Like, people running in a trial mech, they should not immediately be compared to everyone else.
Well, about stock mechs, PGI has many times said that stuff like double heat sinks and endosteel and big engines, those are optional side grades. I think we all know by now that that's not how it is. They should either pick between balancing everything around stock mechs or look at the reality. Then the community and the game will evolve from that. They can't keep saying one thing and doing another.
Okay, dashing back into it.
Well, it's more of the problem of boating itself isn't the problem. It's the boating of high damage, alpha striking, and it's just in the canon. A lot of mechs just simply aren't able to field those weapons. Like, they don't have the capability to. Like, the Awesome is the only mech that can really have 3 PPCs. Like, nothing else in the game is supposed to have 3 PPCs. So, if the stock mech itself is already balanced and can, go toe-to-toe with somebody who's invested in endo steel and double heat sinks, and, they've got, like, this really nice min-max build and everything else. Like, if it should be focused around the performance of an all-around mech instead of one that is either specialized to sniping or brawling or something else. Like, it should be the emphasis on a mech that can do just about anything. Like, that should be the one that should be able to just kind of outperform a little bit of everything, you know?
Laser?
On the question of generalist mechs, I hate to say this, but I try to build my mechs with at least 3 or 4 weapon systems, because I've noticed in my my battle wagon stalker, which is Artemis LRMs, SRMs, and medium lasers and a tag, I'll go up against certain people who only have one weapon system, and I'll throw LRMs at them. Oh god, incoming missile! I gotta run away! Oh, I'll fire my medium lasers. Oh, he only has medium lasers. He can only engage a certain range. No, I'll dump all my LRMs, then I'll close in with the medium lasers and the SRMs. And I just started running a new Stalker build, which has 2 ER-PPCs, 4 medium lasers, and 2 streaks and a BAP. And I'll hammer away at people with my ER-PPCs, and then I'll close in, and if a light decides to screw with me, even through ECM, I can BAP them with my 2 streaks and all my medium lasers.
Right. I just want to add a point on here, because we keep swinging toward it. I know we want to do it, but we shouldn't bring it up. We have something on the side that we're doing, and we're not bringing it up yet. But eventually we will. Right now, we'll just call it the G.A.R.T.H project.
I did want to jump in and say something in regards to Laser's build. When I think about the Stalker, what Laser's doing with his Stalker really is what every Stalker should be. The Stalker itself is designed to be a mech where you're basically using multiple weapon systems to kind of, not really chain fire, but sort of bracket fire things depending on what range you're in. And it's a really fun way to build it. It's just that the current balance of the game just doesn't allow you to do it very well very often.
Okay, Kalis?
I'm not sure who was mentioning earlier that we should down-tune the weapons. I think it was Huge. But I think it's important we might want to start going that route, because 12v12 is going to make the time to kill so much faster that mechs are going to get one-shotted. And that's awful.
Oh, yeah. I'm noticing in my Jenner, like, they fixed the hit point system, but it also feels like they kind of add a little bit of aim assist for the laggy guys, and that's fine. I can understand that. But it's like I'm running around for a few seconds, and then I get hit with 6 PPCs, and then I'm done. And it's just a cheap shot. It's huge.
Yeah, Dashing kind of hit it right there on the head. I think this game should be all about mechs that have no less than 3 weapon groups on a very balanced build. 2 weapon groups on a bit more specialized. If you have 1 fire group, you are doing something very, very wrong, and you should be punished for it. Or at least paying a huge penalty to be specialized. Like, if you want to be the sniper, you are going to snipe better than anyone else, you are going to get your ass kicked at mid and close range, and absolutely kicked.
The deal with that is the fact that, you know, when it came to how the mechs were really built, and how they were in MechWarrior 4, was that you carried 1 siege, 1 super heavy weapon, and then the rest were like medium or smaller weapons, like maybe your medium was a large laser, and then your heavy was a ballistic, so like an AC-20 or a Gauss, and then your small was like a Streak or an SRM. But we don't have that. You can literally make anything a biggie and anything a smallie, so it doesn't even matter. Laser?
To be honest, 4 weapon groups, I cannot manage 5. 4 is like my upper limit. The trend in this game is min-maxing, and the PPC can cover everything down to 90 meters. And I know you mentioned this in a previous podcast, but you love all weapons, and you want all weapons to be good. And I want to carry weapons. Like, when I built that Stalker, it's like, I want BAP, and I want my sensor module. I can see you out to 1,250 meters. I'll just fire ER-PPCs. It takes 50-plus seconds for me to overheat from firing these 2 ER-PPCs. I can spam them for 50 seconds. That's almost a 15th of the game right there, of me just sending fire downrange, letting you know that I can hit you, I can see you from 1,200 meters, and these are the weapons I'm going to use. And once I close in, I'll switch into the medium lasers and the streaks, and maybe the occasional 1 PPC so I don't overheat. It's the Alpha Strike pinpoint damage and the sort of lack of a penalty to doing that, so that if I run up to you with my medium lasers and my streaks and my pulse lasers, and unless I'm doing this as much DPS on the same point better than you, that there's no reason to carry other weapons. And I want to like all these weapons. I have fun with having PPCs at long range and medium lasers and streaks to harass lights.
I did want to say, too, that I think there shouldn't be a penalty either if you wanted to use kind of silly weapon builds, too. one of my favorite mechs right now, and I don't ever get to run it because right now it's just freaking PPC Warrior all the time. I played on Tuesday, played 3 matches. Every match had at least 12 PPCs on either side of our teams.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. But right now, if I can play it and I get into, Spudland, as we've taken to calling it, or the steering wheel underhive, that kind of thing, if I can play it with people, I have a Jaeger-Mech DD that has 2 LBX-10s, and it has 2 machine guns and 2 medium pulse lasers, and it's hilarious for everyone to kind of see, oh, he's got all these crit-seeking weapons, and then send Lieutenant Dan, he ain't got no legs! For those of you, I'm being asked to explain Spudland. Basically, Spudland is the ultra-low ELO steering wheel underhive where everyone's running trial mechs and single heat sinks and basically Paul Anoia builds.
Yeah, and we basically get there from a friend of ours named Spud, who plays the game so nonchalant, it's scary. Like, he literally just doesn't care what goes on in the game, and he's extremely lax, and sometimes he gets a little peeved when we get all try-hard, but he's alright. But we use him as a gateway to see what the Underhive has been up to. And we also use him as a way of farming enemy mechs by legging them to death. Yeah, no shame at all.
No shame, we'll do it. We'll do it again.
Just one thing I've noticed, I remember maybe a week ago, when you were running around your gen, and you're like, oh, I see this build, and you just analyze the build. You see the build, it's like, he has no leg armor. And I was like, what? Oh no, and you're like, he has no leg armor. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you legged 5 mechs in that match. People,
5 or 6 mechs.
Armor up your legs.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't tell them.
The thing I keep seeing people doing.
What are you doing?
The thing I keep seeing people doing, it blows my mind. It's like, okay, so people run double heat sinks all the time, which means they put the double heat sinks in the chest and the arms and the center torso, or not the center torso, but they put them in the upper part of the mech because they can't fit them anywhere else. And in order to fit more ammo, they shave off armor off of the legs, and then they put their ammo in the legs. Please, can somebody fill in the blank for me and tell me exactly where that makes sense? Anyone at all? That'd be great.
Well, the idea is that they just don't want to lose their weapons. They want to be completely defenseless. If they put their weapons up high, their ammo up high, and their other slots and it gets hit, then it's game over, especially with PPC Warrior, and you want to hit the center mass.
I'm just saying for legs, even with the PPCs, just because it's funny to watch people just get popped once in the legs and they explode.
Smart ones do it, and what people don't get is that if you lose a leg, you literally lose your ability to turn and to twist well. Part of what makes torso twisting so good is the fact that people will move their legs opposing, counterclockwise to their own twist on their upper torso, so they can twist harder and faster. Doing this, you can twist theoretically faster than a Jenner can even turn around you. So it's very useful, and a good brawler always knows how to do this. When you get legged, you lose like 50% of your combat viability, and most people scrape off a ton at least of their legs. Other people, they might go farther for extra ammo. So that's enemy mechs that literally have 30, I want to say 20 to 30 armor on their legs. That's one Jenner medium laser alpha. You can drive by and kill him instantly. Kalis?
I'd say you lose a little more than 50% viability now. With the current changes when you get legged, you slow down significantly now. You're basically a very slow-moving target at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of what blows my mind. I'll even hear of light pilots trimming armor from their legs, and I'm like, what are you doing? You realize your life expectancy pretty much plummets the moment you get legged anymore. It's just not a smart move at all.
No, it's not. Huge.
Which, fun fact, light mechs are the only mechs that actually have to mech build. And by that, I mean they have to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want this much speed. I want this much jump jet. I want these weapons. I want this heat efficiency. I have run out of tonnage well before I've hit all those marks, so I have to sacrifice something. Pretty much everything above 50 tons really doesn't have to do that so much.
No.
Well, you don't have to do it in a medium either, because if you run a medium, you're going to die anyway, so you don't have to really even bother.
What are you saying?
Mediums are viable.
Yeah.
Even the trial mechs are. Brian said so.
Yes,
they're competitive.
Yes.
Oh yes. God. I want to bring this up just for funny. We did find something that you can do if you want to. Maybe you're a group of 4 people who are new and you don't really have anything yet. If they do have 4P back on trial, what you can do is what we call the Death Star. You basically have 4Ps and you run around together, and then you call out a single target and you fire all on that target. The total damage is, let me get out the calculator here. Isn't it 40 damage total by 4?
It's 45 each one.
45 per.
45 per. by 4. So that's 180 damage you can core out in Atlas instantly. And then you scatter like roaches while your heat drains. And it's just terrible. We snuck up on an Atlas and this whole team, and we killed them one by one from the back. They just kept going, why are we dying instantly? Oh, God. Okay, let's get Laser up. You want to say something? All right, what is it, Laser?
Great, and now I've completely forgotten what we were talking about.
Moving
when
on.
it comes to legging, the LBX works differently on different hit models. It works great on something like the Highlander, or the Raven's Legs, or the Metal Babby. The LBX is finding like this bizarre super niche now that if you're up against a certain mech that's really hard to hit normally, the LBX works great against it just because of the way the hitbox or the size, and it works great against lights.
Yeah, like Vass says down below, the LBX gets super bonuses on unarmored components. This is pretty crazy. I want to say that with 2 LBXs and like a K2, you have a 25% chance of doing like an AC-24 or something like that. It's a serious amount of damage. And if you're really lucky, and I've seen this once, we had a K2, we had another build called the Chevron. It's an LBX-10 and 4 medium pulse lasers, and it's a dragon that moves very fast, and he can leg very well. But in this instance, he didn't do that. In this instance, we were fighting a Quickdraw with full armor. I had just blown his armor off with some medium lasers, and then the Chevron hit him once in the chest with the LBX and got a super crit and killed him instantly.
They had ammo in there.
No, he went down. He got the super crit damage. Just gold to nothing.
I'll have some more story time, but using that Stalker build I mentioned earlier with the 3 weapon systems, there was a Raven 3L and his little Raven 4X buddy who was jumping around with dual ERPPCs, and they both decided to gang up on me. I got streak lock on the 3L, and once I started firing my streaks and medium lasers, he's like, what's going on here? My ACM isn't doing anything. And then his little ERPPC buddy decides to start jumping around, and I hit him in the leg once, and it's orange internals with the dual ERPPCs because I felt lucky taking a shot. So that Raven leg hitbox is still wonky, but he lost his leg, and now with the new mechanic, you slow down to 15 kilometers per hour for like the first 5 seconds. He jumps on top of a building right in front of me on Upper River City, and that is exactly on level with like locking my arm lock with my ERPPCs. So once they cycle up again, I just blow off the other leg, and he falls over legless.
On the talk about wonky hitboxes, I've noticed that here lately the Jenner is getting stuck inside walls. And it's also getting hit from the front from behind and the behind from the front really badly. I've been noticing a lot of Jenners getting stuck in rocks, in the side of canyons, and they're just turning. They're not even going into it. I've had it happen a few times, and it's just terrible. They're killing the mech because something's wrong with geometry. Huge?
Just touch up on that, actually. I've been running my Jenner lately, and yes, I have been getting stuck, and it is fucking infuriating when it happens, because they're pretty much toast. But also, I was actually running the Chigger a few nights ago, LBX4 small laser, and that thing is fun for taking out light met legs. Because you can keep up, you can stay behind them, and you just keep on blasting away at them. You can usually leg them in about 6 to 7 volleys. They fly off like chopsticks. It's incredibly satisfying.
The best part about this meta is the fact that everyone is running PPC right now, so once you drop their speed and they're a sitting duck, all of your mechs around you just sit there and poke them to death.
Alright, flamers it is. Flamers.
Yeah, flamethrowers.
Vass,
All
you
right.
said you wanted to talk about flamers?
You want to know about flamethrowers? Okay. They do
Tell
nothing.
us about the new ones. They still do nothing.
They still do nothing. Absolutely
Okay.
nothing. That's it.
Okay, huge.
There's nothing more to say.
I'm just kind of... I'm trying to get my head around what they're planning to do with the Flamer, because they don't change the heat value or the heat mechanic. They keep on upping the damage. Do they actually want the Flamer to be a viable DD weapon?
Do they want it
can't
to be
make
what
heads
it
or
was in
tails of it.
closed beta should be the worst question. Because remember, the Flamer used to be super, super OP in closed beta, where you could run around and just fucking kill people with flamers.
Stunlock 9M.
Yeah. Again, the problem with that is the fact that the flamethrower could be like some of these weapons and some of the way. Man, this is all about the G.A.R.T.H project. I can't even bring it up.
Keep it
We've
under
got
wraps.
something big coming. Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Well, talking about flamers and their usefulness, I decided to bring out my 8Q, and with the 7 energy hard points, I slapped a whole bunch of flamers onto my awesome, and being about 20 tons underweight, I decided to play a game with it. Well, needless to say, it was not awesome, but it did leave people I fought a little hot and bothered.
Fantastic use of pun.
That's up for debate. I think they were too busy laughing at you to shoot you. They usually do that when I bring out my flamers.
I'd like to.
I charged
Remember the
battle
propane eagle
dildo.
drops? Oh God.
I charged a battle dildo with my 7-flamer awesome, and he really did not know how to handle it. He thought about shooting me at first, but then he decided to shoot at other people, so I was just running around in a circle, shooting him with my flamer for like a solid, minute and a half, till he finally got killed. Nobody the entire game on the other side decided to shoot me. They were all going after everyone else. So by the time it was all said and done, I think I did over 250 damage with flamers alone.
I'd like to actually test the heat with you on a certain mech afterward if you'd like, Dashing.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so we'll check that out. Jude?
On the note of flamers, I really don't know what they can do to them to actually make them any decent, like, in the meta ever.
Well, I think in tabletop, as long as you had, like, an open component, the fire would just rush in and set off all your ammo.
Well, yeah, flamers were great for crits in that, but
I'm thinking maybe
it doesn't really work in the MechWarrior Online game, and like they can't make it generate a lot of heat because, again, that's stun locking. They could make it generate a little heat, which I believe it already does. I'm not sure, but that's not very effective. If they up the damage too much, then well, it's just going to be like another. It's just gonna get into like the realm of the small pulse lasers and machine guns and whatnot. I think what they could do to buff it, rather than changing those things, is make it brighter so that it obscures vision and it pisses everyone off.
It used to.
It still does it pretty well.
It does, yeah. But I think the real problem is the fact that it comes about heat penalties. And that's something all different altogether. Like someone said before, maybe it should increase chance to detonate ammo. That is exactly what flamethrowers did. If you hit somebody at 90% heat and left them there for a full minute, all their ammo is going to just stovepipe, and it's going to burst, and they're going to die. But
yeah, that seems like what it should be. Like the flamer should be a niche weapon. Niche. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Niche. It is niche or niche. Fucking
niche.
Niche.
It's French.
Okay. Who did we have up? Vass. Was it Vass?
You already covered my points basically, but essentially it's very hard to balance this gun because it's a stun lock. That's what it is. No.
Well,
can't have that, it's no fun.
At 90%, it would be no fire stun lock, which is fine. It lets you run back away to your team for support. It lets you, it makes it where running alone, Ramboing, makes a complete ultimate death. And it would be just funny to see, a pretty baby run ahead, and then there's that one Raven that is carrying a flamethrower, and he starts flaming him, and then he's like, oh god, 40, 50, 60, I better turn away. And he starts running away and he's at 90. He cannot fire, he is running, the whole team is shooting at him, and he can't quite make it over the hill to his team.
But it doesn't kill him because it's stun-locked him.
Yeah.
Team play, MechWarrior Online, guarantee. Not nice. It would be funny watching them do that though, but it would end in disaster.
I was thinking, well, it may not need direct damage, but yeah, if it could just do stuff like crit out ammo, because I know a lot of people don't do it because, not meta compliant, but even energy builds should have a little bit of, AMS ammo in them. Also, maybe it can detonate missiles. So, if you have a incoming LRM storm, you kind of point out, maybe take out a few more manually if you want to try to do that. Maybe just some fun stuff with it. Don't make it a damage-dealing weapon. Make it a utility tool.
Okay, Harabek?
Yeah, I was really just going to say, a few people have said it already, but I like the idea of it being able to do a very low chance of like a through armor critical after you've heated them up long enough.
Well, that's
They've
exactly
been heating
how
them
it
up for
works.
about 10 to 12 seconds. After that, you have like a 0.05 chance that maybe increases over time to crit out that ammo through the armor. I don't think that would make it overpowered at all. I think some people might complain, but yeah.
We actually need to look that up. We need to find out what the rules were on heat abuse and find out what 90% would actually lead you to. Because if mechs could do that, that would be very good. And again, an issue with making that balanced, of course, falls under the G.A.R.T.H project. God damn it, I want to talk about it.
Next argument.
All in due time.
Okay, so who do we got next? Jude?
I was going to say again about flamers and machine guns, since I know we're going on to that next, but another reason they are probably very hard to balance is because they were never really made to shoot at mechs in the first place. In tabletop, they are anti-infantry and vehicle weapons.
Or burning forests.
Yeah, flamers, if you were against, like, just other mechs, they're usually for burning forests and shit.
Destructible environment.
Well, yeah, flamers and machine
guns. Hey, there's one
they
tree and one stoplight you can break.
Oh, God.
That one.
Flamers and machine guns against enemy mechs, like, they were used, they just weren't that effective. Like, the Mad Cat in tabletop, actually. Anyone who takes a Mad Cat, the first thing they do is dump the machine gun ammo, because that's a liability.
Yeah, God. Yeah, the ammo is very dangerous. How come ammo is not dangerous enough?
You already have too many reasons not to run ballistics.
Ah, God. Can we talk about machine guns, I guess? Talk about
machine guns.
Every time.
I still think they're not quite high enough. Again,
they're 1 DPS.
I think they're fine. I think they're fine.
They're fine. They're perfect now.
I think
we've
Damage-wise,
hit
they're fine. They could probably
equilibrium.
have a longer range.
Alright, here's my issue. It's like, still, there's no reason to put them in certain mechs. Because it's like, you can't put it in your Atlas because you can't carry enough of them. You don't want to use that one ballistic slot for one machine gun.
Right, but I think that's their niche, is that they're supposed to be those things that you use on mechs that have 6 frickin' ballistic slots. That's their prime. I really do think that right now machine guns are just fine, just in the same way that LRMs now are pretty much perfect. I think it's one of those things where they just need to stop touching it at this point before they break it.
Here's the problem, though. I'm never going to have a reason to ever carry it in an assault. I'll never have a brawler assault that could carry the machine guns the way I want.
Well, yeah, but if you're using an assault with ballistics, you want to have the biggest autocannons and Gauss rifles you can put in it.
True, but there's other ways to do it, like having the biggest energy weapons you can, and then following it up with, like, some ballistics at rapid fire. Don't get me wrong, I think it's kind of cool that where they are now, but still, there are some issues that need to be worked on. Who have we got? We got Herbeck.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of what I said just got covered in y'all's exchange there, but they definitely need a longer range, I feel like. But I'm happy with their DPS. They're a nice alternative to a small laser. But as you said, an alternative to a small laser that no mechs can run except for a handful, because they're very stringent about handing out ballistic slots, as they should be. But still, more mechs could have them in the head, something like that. Why don't we put them in the legs? I don't know if they want to do leg weapons, but
blow the knees.
The Victor is going to has a variant with that, so why not?
Okay, huge.
Nothing about the balance, but just a small thing I noted. If you zoom in ×3 and you shoot the machine gun, you'll notice at 91 meters, these slugs that are being super shot out of your mech, they start to piddle off like little shitty bottle rockets, and they flange off to the left and the right, and they disappear. They literally just kind of peter out right at 91 meters. I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah, I thought that was alright. Alright, well, how about I bring up something on machine guns? My worry about machine guns is basically this. The only mech that can really run around with machine guns is the Jaeger, and I understand that in some ways it has a right to do so, but I also feel like other mechs that only have like 2 or 3 machine guns aren't getting their fair share, and they're a lot heavier in tonnage. This is just more shit that we're going to have to cover some other time. Prediction of a new meta. I don't even know if we're going to run into that. I guess we're going to see probably more brawling as soon as large pulse lasers come out. There will probably be about a week or two where, you go into the game and, oh god, everybody's trying it out, and there's no LRM mechs, and there's no sniper mechs, and there's no Ravens, it's just like mediums and pulse lasers.
Hey, I'm cool with that. Those hunchback drops we did back in beginning of open beta were fantastic.
Oh, they were funny. Fucking swaybacks.
No, not even that. I think we're all running 4Gs and 4Hs or something like that.
The mutant camel.
You could meld the matchmaker to your will and get 4 mediums on the other side, and those medium matches are usually like the most fun.
Oh god.
Yeah, they're not heavy enough to boat everything under the sun, and they're fast enough where it doesn't feel like you're just waddling through the map.
All right. Anyway, As far as the next meta, I think PGI's kind of learned their lesson with the LRMs, and they're gonna probably start upgrading the SRM slowly. We know they're gonna change the streaks, so they're actually hitting the middle of the bones now.
We're on MLB, remember? It's missiles, lasers, and then ballistics that they perk up. So what are they doing right now?
I still think streaks are on the drawing board.
I
since
think
they actually
SRMs
mentioned
are as well.
Did they leave the rotation completely now? Are we off of MLB?
I think we're still on M, and pulse lasers are along for the ride. So we're still in the missile part. The pulse lasers were like 2 lines, machine guns were 1 line. So
they're actually kind of prepping it. Because the nerf they did is more of in preparation. They didn't actually do anything really. They're like, okay, let's get these stats ready for it, and they're
small upgrades, small changes.
Yeah, getting prepared. We all hope that's coming, but.
Or pay to misery, considering you can carry the dual PPCs and the Gauss with the Pauls. You can only fire 3 PPCs within half a second of each other.
Okay, so what were you on, Kalis?
Oh, the pulse lasers are all. Remember, they're all going to get a balance pass as well.
I know.
I hope they touch them again.
They changed the large ones just to get everything ready for for the whole board. I guess that's what Paul said, at least.
No, Harabeck, we're talking about possible future meta and the way they're kind of molding the game. You know how we go through that change once a month. The birds and the bees once a month. When young MechWarriors grow up to be PPC boaters or Pop-Tarts or Street Commandos.
I think we were supposed to talk about the penalty first.
I don't think the penalty for PPCs is going to do anything.
Nope,
I
ain't gonna
agree.
do jack shit.
It might.
Maybe for those who refuse to do anything, and then, because they built the mech, they don't know anything about it because they're derp, and they just give up. But the rest are going to be like, oh, I know how to get around this.
Just my prediction on the new meta is whatever gets buffed is going to be what's used most, and whatever gets nerfed is never going to be touched again, like it has always been.
But
Like
who
right now,
reads the
LRMs?
patch notes?
Who reads patch notes? Come
Nobody
on.
reads the patch notes because PGI doesn't give us complete patch notes.
No,
To be
they
honest,
don't.
this recent patch notes were just too damn short, and I don't think there were really any secret Easter eggs we had to find out. Even the water on River City that was supposedly made to increase your mech's heat, I've walked through them in trial in the training grounds. Maybe it only applies to the actual game itself, but you can walk through the fires and it doesn't increase your heat.
Okay, who we got? Hairbeck.
Yeah, they talked about implementing that new boating penalty, which didn't come this patch, so I guess it must be coming the next patch. But it's really going to be useless, and they've already detailed why in their post. People are just going to chain fire 2 and then 2. I feel like for the new meta, they should have the recycle rate of the PPC be the firing time in which you can't fire more than 2 PPCs in. Fire 2 PPCs, you have to wait for the recharge time, and then fire the other 2. And you have to do it like that, because otherwise the 3 PPC Gauss is just going to come back if you have it limited to 3, with the Misery or the Highlanders, etc. will be the same problem. So 2, and then that's... I don't know where I'm going after that. There you go.
Kalis?
Well, I actually have a Misery, and I wouldn't say it's pay to win, but it is a very strong mech. I roll right now with 2 ER PPCs, a single PPC, and a Gauss rifle, and it's quite dangerous. I mean, you can put a lot of damage on a little area, and to worry about heat, you could just sit on the Gauss rifle for a while. And according to Paul's post, I'm not going to have to change any way of how I fight, and I've gotten upwards of 800-900 damage a couple matches. I average about 400 to 500 with 2 to 3 kills.
Okay, Laser.
I think one of the reasons they're actually... I know we mention a lot that they don't listen to our feedback, but they have for UI 2.0, and we were sort of expecting the changes to come this patch, and then we get a patch list of it's fucking nothing. I think they might be taking our feedback into account with what they're going to do with boating. That's a possibility.
Oh, God.
Dare to dream.
Yeah. I expect nothing, and still I'm disappointed. If something does happen, I probably will, I think, like, if they did do something like we've been talking about, I probably will go out of my way, and I'll take a few of you little bastards, and we'll go talk to them on the Phil stream or whatever. I actually want to bring up that I didn't know that Sean Lang was Phil. I thought he was an intern. So every time I saw him or ran into him or talked in a discussion that he was in, I thought he was like some nobody, and I kept thinking to myself, where the hell is Phil? When is he going to show up? I have no idea if I've covered that, but I think it's funny as hell.
It was funny the first time when you ran into him, and you're like, he's Phil? Like, yes, he's Sean Lang. They're the same person? Yes.
That was Phil? No, I thought it was like some guy named Sean Lang.
Christ, I knew that the first time I watched the thing.
Hi, I'm an intern. What do we got next? Ask Developers number 40.
Yeah, I think Kalis wanted to say something about the CryEngine and the support from CryTek.
Oh, well, it was just a quick thing. It really struck me as odd that they said they have no support, no help at all, anytime they have problems, but yet they keep saying they have game engine bugs, and they're ones causing them a lot of trouble, a lot of problems, and taking a lot of their resources away. It just seems odd that they wouldn't have more support, maybe due to the subscription they have as a CryTek partner. I'm not sure exactly, but that seems pretty odd.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't really know anything else from Ask the Developers 40, so maybe we should move on to the next one.
Wasn't a lot in there.
There's never a lot in there.
Russ's letter to the founders. I don't think I ever got one.
From what we were told, founders who have not played at all, due to family or work or other reasons, were supposedly sent an email from Russ, who is he's the president, right? He sent out an email to whoever signed up for founders and hasn't played the game at all, period, saying, well, we would like you to play, here's what our game looks like. Street Cat, the little email pictures we've had, Street Cat is awaiting your return. And we know how much money they made from the Founders program, and it's just a little surprising that some of them have, 0 games in and haven't spent a single unit of their MC.
Well, you have to remember what we got when we showed up, and then all the things, and it didn't feel like they were ever listening to us, and all that. I remember just there would be at least 2 to 3 pages, and I called this the crust, and it was just filled with a lot of people with a lot of good ideas. There were some really good people back in closed beta, and a lot of people were fighting, and as soon as we went to open, there was just this big, betrayal. You felt like, yeah, we all kind of gave up. Laser?
Yeah, there are actually some golds I know from the transitional period and open beta that I haven't seen them post since back then. And I can imagine a lot of people who were founders back then, just before the transition to open beta, gave up. And when they reset everything for open beta, they didn't play at all whatsoever, and they're just now getting a call back. Interestingly enough, every once in a while, when I actually do go to the MechWarrior online forums, I will see a founder badge with 1 or 2 posts finally starting to post.
Yeah, that also goes back to guys like Total Biscuit who still refuse to post or play the game really, and either because they're waiting for something to happen or who knows what. And there was one specific person we have a screenshot and who we knew who was a programmer and actually was kind of a mover and shaker. I looked at his LinkedIn profile, and I don't want to say that he did super game development, but he is a professional
programmer with 20 years of experience.
Yeah, no, I mean his name. But I think he worked for AOL when AOL was starting to come out, and that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of a really big deal. And he's done a lot. And he knew
about development, agile development.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't believe this. And he gave up right before we went to open when they were talking about going to open. And then he just left. Yeah, he even said he wrote a book. And a lot of the golds throughout closed beta were shitting on him for no reason. Vass said something on this that I've always believed. And I want to reiterate it. And it's that you should never be a fan of something unless there's a reason to. There should never be fanboys for you during a development. The only time you deserve praise is when you are finished with something. Until you cross the finish line, no one applauds. You do not get an applaud before you ever get there. It's the kind of thing where you hear about your grandmothers and they say kids these days, they're given a pat on the back and a trophy for doing nothing. It's kind of like that. We're giving them too much approval, and they stop giving a damn, and they get lazy. It's just not a good idea. It's not good for you, for your money, and it's not good for them. Literally. It's toxic. You do not do that to them. You do not have any brand loyalty unless you have a reason to. Laser?
Just sort of going on to the agile development system, and sort of with we've been building up to this with the UI 2.0 discussions, but they're really only one big target and possibly second targets. I would call community warfare to be the primary pillar that they're trying to get up, and UI 2.0 the second one. But they only talk about UI 2.0 now. It's the Jesus patch, and how you with the development methodology they're going with, they sort of fix small things, maybe we'll hit that one big target, and we're talking about 2 targets right now, and we're still getting hyped up by UI 2.0 will do this, community warfare might be this, and we've gotten so many more, they've been a lot more transparent about UI 2.0, and that's a good thing. Community warfare is still sort of vague and foggy right now.
Kalis?
Just wanted to go over something Laser said. He mentioned Agile as well as Connor. Just to let people understand what Agile is, it's basically a software development. It's relatively new. It's a type of method that focuses on quick sprints to get things done, and it's real iterative in its usage. A lot of the argument that Linshai made that PGI wasn't applying Agile properly, and they were slavishly devoting themselves to it in a way that made their lives harder. So, just a quick aside.
So the last thing, Vass's little tour of the inner sphere and who he talked to today, and if you can just tell us how the pulse of the game and the other groups that we sort of he communicates with.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of hard getting in touch with people. I don't think a lot has changed since last time, despite the Pop-Tart is finally being removed. On some people, but most they really aren't all that interested. They're kind of hibernating. The ones that aren't hibernating have gone pretty stagnant. Not losing players anymore, not as much anyway, but they're not getting any new ones that I can see. It was tough getting in contact with any of them. I don't know. Gonna have to do something here, PGI.
Yeah, you mentioned you mentioned that Pop-Tarting, the removal of it, sort of at least stopped the bleed, but recruitment is down, and they're playing other games still.
Yeah, most have actually emigrated to airplane games in general, I think.
World of Tanks, War Thunder, World of Planes. World of Planes, I think, is going to be in beta soon, so that's going to open up a lot of...
Weird thing is, people have actually returned to Rift.
Rift, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. That's about all there is to say about that.
Well, thankfully you were able to contact some other groups, but it's...
Occasionally.
Just occasionally, in the groups that you were able to get a hold of, but it was somewhat difficult to even get a hold of the ponies right now.
Yeah, I can talk about that. That's a pretty important part. We used to have 3 pony factions. One of them has gone completely inactive. It's not even really playing MechWarrior. The recruitment thread they used to keep, last message it pretty much says, we're not playing this game anymore, we're all turning to World of Tanks, and we'll be back in a few months to fix the game. And the other 2 pony factions, the one I can get in contact with it's very much stagnated. They don't post, they don't play a lot. But they're still around, so they haven't given up hope.
Yeah, I think Galadamon here, he's mentioned that he's been playing PlanetSide 2 a lot, and that even in PlanetSide 2 he can't escape Iridani Light Pony with their leader, Protection, and their 68 members.
Moved to PlanetSide 2 then?
Yeah, he can't escape them even there.
God.
The ride never ends.
Let's see, how should we close ourselves out here? That's it. Literally nothing.
The dashing.
Are you trying to one-up me on my spaghetti drop from the Kongkast where you had the heavy gear guys on? Because seriously, I didn't think you could top that. That was pretty bad.
Just like, eh.
Just did.
Yeah, should dashing.
We're done. Get the hell out.
Goodbye.
This is Rather Dashing, and this is Kongkast. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks.